Hey guys, welcome back to BMW Fanatic. Now, if you have an oil leak as far as coming from your valve cover, it's definitely very important to take the extra steps to remove the heat shield on the side. One being that oil will accumulate through there after all that time as far as leaking through that valve cover. It collects on the heat shield, it'll start weeping through. So what I'm doing right now, and you'll see the DIY on this here tomorrow, but I wanted to add to that DIY. If you haven't seen my BMW N54 valve cover gasket DIY, I'll post up here at the top. When you are doing that DIY, definitely important to remove the heat shield on the side. So with the heat shield removed, and thanks to the viewer as far as that mentioned this, because I wasn't even thinking about this until I started seeing oil weeping through the crevices on this heat shield. And it's true, because you have a lot of residual oil that collects down in there and it has nowhere to go. So when it fully heats up, you're gonna have this, it's gonna start weeping through. And as you can see, look at all this residual oil that I have down in here. So I'm cleaning this all out. I didn't see any oil coming out where the gasket is. I just kept seeing it like just stay in this heat shield. So that's why definitely a big point to remove, to take off, and to fully clean, right? I was gonna go the route as far as just clean it down in there, which that's okay, but with it fully removed, you can really get down in there and get all that old oil out. The last thing that you want to have happen and what you want to not think about is that, oh crap, I messed up the valve cover gasket. Now that does happen, to where you can mess that up and you can have a leak. Let me take you a quick little sneak peek as far as what I'm working on right here, so that way you guys can see. All right, as I mentioned, here's the heat shield. Much better close up as far as to see all the residual oil. Now, the valve cover will sit like right here. There's no oil coming from the valve cover, it's just down in here. And it gets down in these crevices, cracks, and it will start to weep through right here. It's the weirdest thing that it seeps through here, right here. It'll puddle up just a little bit, and then therefore, as you can see, this thing was terrible. I had a valve cover leak for the longest time, so therefore I had a lot of just oil down in there. It was definitely needed to take out the vacuum canisters so that way I can get to the bottom bolts. The bottom front one right here, because it's impossible to get to a lot of this stuff. So what I did is I just took the boost solenoids, they're just sitting down there right now, but I took them off their posts a little bit because this bottom nut right here on both sides, it is definitely hard to get those all the way out because of, as you can tell, the space with the solenoids wrapped around it. It's really hard to be able to get them all the way off, so you don't want to remove them all the way, just remove them like 80%, and then you'll tilt the solenoids out so that way you can make sure to slide them out, and that way you don't have to take all the vacuum lines off of that. Well, as I mentioned, DIY will drop tomorrow to how to remove that off. Very simple process, but that way you guys can check out that video. I'm gonna do a few more other things right after that, so that way you can see the process that I use to clean oil out. Then I will be doing the engine details, so that way you guys can see how I'm physically cleaning the engine bay, because I definitely need to do that. After all these times I've had oil leaks, I need to really hit that up and fully clean that. So you'll see that DIY here coming, a bunch of other stuff as far as I'm just extremely busy with everything else going on right now. We'll make sure to get those videos out to you. Extremely important, spend the extra time when you're following my DIY, how to change out the valve cover gasket, since you're already right over on that side, take this out, clean it, so that way, and clean out any old oil that you see anywhere around the engine. So that way, if you do see something, you know that if it's an issue or it's just old residual oil that's sitting there. Other than that, thanks guys for watching that DIY, all the great positive feedback that I've had from that. It truly was fun to film that. When I'm trying to do these DIYs, it's really great to pass that savings off to you guys, because that DIY alone is $1,200 if you go to the dealership. Yeah, it can be a little extensive, but just right in your garage with the simple tools that you need, some patience, and just to follow it. Just take your time, do it. You'll save you the money. You don't need to pay someone to go ahead and do it. And then that way you guys can go and spend that money on something else that's a little bit more useful. And my motto, that what I always kind of preach off to you guys, is maintenance before modifications. Take care of everything first before you start throwing mods on there. That way you have a better positive experience when you're driving. a BMW, especially an N54, with all the little things that you need to do as far as if you're trying to tune and do all that. Well, everyone, thanks for stopping in, and as always, please be sure to subscribe, like this video, comment below. Take care.
This is a Chuki beat production.